History is often written by the powerful, but what happens when those in power deliberately erase the evidence of their crimes? Today, we uncover Operation Legacy, a secret British policy designed to hide the brutal realities of colonial rule in Africa, the Caribbean, and beyond. In 2011, the world learned about Operation Legacy, a covert program launched in the 1950s. Its purpose was chillingly simple. Before colonies gained independence, British officials removed or destroyed incriminating documents. Anything that could embarrass the crown, the military, or the police was hidden from history. This wasn't just about paperwork. It was about controlling the narrative of empire, ensuring future generations would remember colonialism with fondness and respect rather than violence and exploitation. These documents were meticulously sorted. Some were marked for destruction, while others were secretly flown back to the UK, stored in a high-security government facility known as Hanslope Park. For over half a century, this hidden archive, containing the darkest secrets of the British Empire, remained completely unknown to the public and even to most historians. The operation was so systematic that it had its own instruction manuals, detailing how to distinguish between documents that could be left for the new governments and those that had to disappear. Kenya provides one of the clearest windows into this cover-up. During the Mau Mau uprising against colonial rule in the 1950s, thousands of Kenyans were tortured, imprisoned without trial, and even executed. Survivors carried scars, both physical and emotional. Yet for decades, historians downplayed their testimony, relying instead on sanitized colonial records. It was until until a group of elderly Kenyans took Britain to court that the truth began to surface. The legal battle forced the British government to admit the existence of the hidden files. Released documents revealed that over 80,000 people were detained in concentration camps, more than 1,000 were executed, and horrific abuses like castration and burning alive were sanctioned by colonial authorities. Despite the scale of these atrocities, only a handful of white officers were ever accused, and all were eventually granted amnesty. The official narrative had been shattered, revealing a coordinated effort to conceal systemic violence. But Kenya wasn't the only colony affected. In places like Malaya, Cyprus, and British Guiana, today's Guyana, the destruction of records was even more complete. After British Guiana's first democratic election in 1953, Britain, fearing the rise of a left-leaning government, declared a state of emergency. They removed the popularly elected Prime Minister, Chedi Jagan, and suspended the constitution. British troops occupied the territory, and the documents detailing these anti-democratic actions were systematically destroyed. Unlike in Kenya, where some crucial files survived to tell the tale, much of Guyana's history from that period was deliberately erased. This left future generations in the dark about Britain's manipulation of democracy and its deep-seated fear of anti-colonial leaders who challenged its authority. The gaps in the historical record are a direct result of this targeted destruction, making it incredibly difficult to piece together the full story of Britain's intervention. Operation Legacy wasn't just about hiding past crimes, it was about shaping the future. By sanitizing colonial history, Britain made it easier to transition into neocolonial relationships, maintaining economic and political influence over its former colonies without the burden of accountability. As journalist Ian Cobain argued, the ultimate goal was to ensure that colonialism would be remembered with respect, not condemnation. In reality, it was a calculated and cynical attempt to rewrite history, undermining the voices of millions who suffered under the empire. This historical whitewashing allowed a myth of a benevolent empire to persist for decades, influencing politics, education, and public perception, both in Britain and across the Commonwealth. The control of history was seen as a vital tool for maintaining global power in a post-colonial world. Operation Legacy reminds us that history is never neutral. It is curated, manipulated, and sometimes destroyed by those who fear the truth. As archives slowly open and the last survivors speak out, we must confront the sanitized myths of empire and acknowledge the violence that shaped our world. Only then can we begin to understand the true, complex, and often brutal legacy of colonialism. The fight to uncover these hidden histories continues today, driven by communities demanding justice and a more honest account of the past. Thanks for watching. If you found this documentary eye-opening, hit like, subscribe, and share, because history deserves to be remembered, not erased. Operation Legacy reminds us that history is never neutral. It is curated, manipulated, and sometimes destroyed by those who fear the truth. As archives slowly open and survivors speak out, we must confront the sanitized myths of empire and acknowledge the violence that shaped our world. Only then can we begin to understand the true legacy of colonialism. Thanks for watching. If you found this documentary eye-opening, hit like, subscribe, and share, because history deserves to be remembered, not erased.